Hello and welcome to the Furreal podcast, the show that discusses music, film, and most importantly, furries. I'm your host Matthew, also known as Hypebeastan, and today, very late on a UK night, we've got Ari Aster / Queerfocks, also known as Tyler. Hello, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. It's the sleepy. It's the
sleepies. I mean, I don't record many episodes late at night. I think the most latest I've done is like midnight. This is like 10 to 11. Yeah. To be fair, it was my fault because I always listen to the album and I just finished listening to the album and now I'm sat down ready to. And I think it's
having an existential crisis.
Yeah. We will get onto that. We will get onto that. I think it's I don't know. I think it's a good setting. I would rather do with the picks for today or tonight even or this episode. They're very. I don't know. I think like a nighttime recording it settles it a bit more calm.
Yeah,
might get a bit deep, but you know, yeah. Well, we're recording this on Pancake Day, and I was making pancakes with my flatmate. Shout out Isla, and it was like we fucked it up so many times because we were making them too thick and stuff. And we just had like a massive lump of pancake. But did you do any pancake stuff today? Or
no, we didn't because literally the last time me and my boyfriend tried to make pancakes, it was like in the first lockdown and it did not work, and we haven't made pancakes since. So that's like over a year now, and we're just like we don't know how to make them. We're just not gonna bother because we had waffles on Valentine's Day, so. That's too much sugar, so I'm like, okay, I need to just not do any pancakes, not this year.
I mean, I think it's I've got my allergy to eggs, so like I have to watch how many pancakes I eat.
Oh my god, but that's like lactose intolerant people where they're like, I'm lactose intolerant, but I will drink as much milk as I possibly can. Yeah,
it literally has turned into that though, because it's one of those things that like my allergies deteriorated over time. In like how much it affects me. Like it used to be really bad when I was little, but now I'm just like, I might have an upset stomach, but like who cares? Like pancake yummy.
Pancake yummy.
Very yummy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I wish I had pancakes today, but you know, a boy can dream. I'm having cake at the weekend though, because it's my birthday next week.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah, because we were talking about how this episode. I don't think it is anymore because of the schedules changed, but we were talking about how this episode would come out on your birthday week or something potentially. But I don't know. I think I'm taking a break this week from doing stuff. I'm doing it all the time, and I mean, I have people message me and be like, you know, you can't take a break because I'm not caught up with it when you're releasing them every week. So I mean, I don't think it's going to be bothering anybody that much time, like taking a week break. It's when I get a DM and someone's like, I can't believe you're taking a week break from the podcast. And I'm like, all right, I'm sorry, you know.
Wait, you're not being paid to do it. Do whatever you want. Just chill, honestly. It's a pandemic.
Exactly.
Who gives a fuck?
Gotta chill. I find it super weird that we've been friends, well, like mutuals on Twitter, and then I added you on Snapchat, and we've like talked for like now like texting shit, and it's like, and this is our first time having like a conversation, like an active conversation, like over the phone and Discord. That's so weird because you just haven't like had the time for. How did we even become mutuals again? I can't remember.
I was literally just thinking about this. I was like, because I only made my furry Twitter like in the middle of the summer last year, because I was a furry in my childhood.
Yeah,
I was a deviant art furry. That was where I was at. I was on fucking Feral Heart. Did you ever play Feral Heart?
No, I did not play Feral Heart, but that sounds very like Y2K furry.
It is. It's literally like I was 12. It was a role-playing game. You could be a wolf or a lion. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
I made some friends through there, and I in fact like got to meet them like years later in person, which was crazy. But
that's mad.
No, I know. I think I was just following random people because I follow like 2 or 3 furry artists on my main Twitter very secretly.
Yeah,
because I wasn't sure
about. That's what I'm like as well. I think I followed like SCP Kid, and SCP Kid and like Dappermouth, if you can count Dappermouth as a furry artist, but Dappermouth just does more animals that look like really fucking cool. So it was like, and I feel like you could retweet or like interact with that kind of art and nobody would bat an eye.
You can like be subtly a furry.
Yeah, definitely.
But only for so long.
Yeah.
But no, I think I was just literally like following the furries that I'd followed on my main, and then I just went into other people's followers, and I was like, oh, they seem cool. I'll give a follow. And then I think it was like the like show your most played artists on Spotify.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we had it's because we had similar music taste.
That
and
was
we were
it.
Like, hello.
That was something mad that happened to you. That's probably my most like blown up fucking tweet.
Is it? Oh my god.
Was that like I was like post a pic of your Sona. I remember I was at work. I like did it the morning. I was like post a pic of your Sona and then post like your top like 10 artists on this website. And I got a few quote retweets from like mutuals. And then like people like Time fucking quote QRT'd it in Sol Dog, and I was like, holy fucking shit, like. And I was at work when it was popping off, and I like looked at it and I was like, it's got like 400 quote retweets. And then the thing is, it's like a thread thing, so that's 400 threads plus extra ones on top of that. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was so cool.
You popped off.
I popped off, and I mean the teaser for the podcast popped off as well, which I really appreciate. That got quite a lot of retweets and a lot of traction.
It's so good.
So.
I showed my flatmates that. I was like, look, that's my friend. Oh my god.
Oh man. Anyway, let's get into the nitty gritty. So obviously you do digital art and that's your primary thing, but actually you also do films, didn't you? Because you're like me, because we're both like film students. We're both UK film students. It's a bit shit at the moment, isn't it? But
oh my god, don't even get me started, mate. We only started our main project module on Monday. It was like delayed for like 2 weeks because they were like, we're figuring out how to make it accessible, and like they still want it. They're like, we're hoping that you can be on campus in March, and I'm like, no, no, thank you. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Because you started way after me. Because I remember
I did. Yeah,
I remember I was like, because it was like last week or maybe a few weeks ago. You were like, I was like, oh yeah, I've got some work to hand in there, and then you were like, oh, I'm starting my degree then. And I was like, what?
I'm starting my term. Started 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks ago we started our semester, and then that was only 2 modules that we were doing. So, but now it's three modules. But yeah, it's definitely like super different. It's so weird.
It sucks. I mean, I don't want to get too in depth with it because it's like, you know.
I'm guessing you talked about the COVID a lot probably on this.
Yeah, and like, I mean, it's probably a little bit boring for viewers, but basically, like, obviously, I like wanted to do film because I'm like a very practical person. I don't like I enjoy writing about films, but I enjoy making them way more, and I want to be marked based on that. And now I'm just sat there with like making essays and writing essays instead of like being marked on the things I'm actually good at, and it's just really frustrating. But there's not really much we can do about it right now. So.
We must be the opposite, because I love theory. I actually really love writing essays. Really? I love analysing film, and I'm not practical at all with a camera, or I can just about like use a camera and the audio equipment, but it's like I really love writing, but it's just not the right circumstances for it. I still want to make a film. Like last year, we didn't even get to finish our film because our uni shut down during production of it. So I'm like, I have no idea how to make a film start to finish, and I'm in my second year. But you know, we move.
That's kind of how I feel as well, because first year they were like, you only get to make one film this year, and it was like a shitty like remake of a western that we had to like remake and like talk about shot composition, so it wasn't really making a film. But they were like, you're doing all essays this year, but don't worry, next year is really productive, and now next year is now, and it isn't because of COVID. And I'm just like, I'm going into my 3rd year of uni, and I've like not made a film yet, which is fucking diabolical. But there's not really much they can do about it. So I'm just kind of sat here like trying to write pre-production for a film I'm not making, like writing a script and a storyboard and that. But it's fine.
We're hopefully making a film, but we're just doing it remotely. So luckily I'm working with my friend, so then I know that I can trust a person to actually get stuff done. But then I'm going to be the editor. So because I've fallen in love with editing over the first semester, but I'm still like basic as fuck. I like put a composition together and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so good. And then I look at your shit and I'm like, never mind.
Oh no, don't say
No,
that.
'cause you're so good.
Editing's what I want to do as a career, so I spend a lot of time doing it. But
I have no career prospects. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I don't know. I think my dream would be either editing for a small company or a client-based company, or being like, this is like a dream, like being a music video director. Like a music video director would be fucking awesome. I would love to do that.
To be honest, yeah, I would genuinely do that. It's that or horror.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Music videos are horror. Yeah.
Anyway, let's shift side. We're 10 minutes in now. God damn.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about your digital art, because that's the more furry side of stuff. So
yeah.
So you were talking about how you were furry when you were like younger, like DeviantArt kind of thing. But what made you kind of want to like revitalize it a bit and start it? Because I do remember when you followed me, I saw you UK based, and I was like, oh, it's fucking awesome. I'll follow him. And then I saw your art and I was like, oh, it's awesome. Like, but it's just a new account because he's only got like 10 followers.
Yeah.
So it must be like a completely like new thing for you then, since you only made it like in the summer of this year.
Literally, it was my childhood because I found Feral Heart, and if anyone who listens to this podcast knows Feral Heart, please reach out to me. It's such an innate part of my childhood. I remember so many things from there. But that's really where I discovered furries, is literally people were role-playing as furries, and I was like, what is this? You can be an animal? Oh my god. And then I discovered, like, they're called, like, animashes on YouTube.
Okay.
And it was just loads of, like, childhood, like, animation films, like fucking Lion King, you know, Balto, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all of these people are furries, and I was like, maybe I'm a furry. Then I started making art, like just drawing. I used to like trace from the computer screen onto a piece of paper, and then I got my first tablet when I was like 13, and then that's when I joined DeviantArt, and I just kept going and going and going. And then I think at like 16, it hit the point where everyone thought that being a furry was cringe.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't be this anymore. so I genuinely, like, I didn't touch my drawing tablet at all. I just stopped making art completely. And you know, I sometimes still like secretly watched furry YouTubers. I think I used to watch like the dance competitions at furry conventions. Okay. Like that was my sort of secret thing that I did, and I didn't tell anyone because I was like, I'm so embarrassed. And then literally last year I was like, I followed people on Twitter, and then I was sort of secretly sort of looking at that art and going, oh, I wish I could do that again. And then my boyfriend was like, well, why don't you? And I was like, because it's weird. And there was like, it's not weird. There isn't a space where, you know, enjoying your creativity, just making art is weird. It's the sort of, I had like the 2016 mindset still, but seeing so many cool people interact and like create shit, I'm like, fuck that, man. You know what? I'll be a part of it. I'm still really tiny. I literally just do it because I think it's fun. I only have like 25 followers, but yeah, it just helped me a lot. I think it helped sort of with my mental health, especially last year, because it was such a fucking crazy place to be. So you know, it's literally like I still have ups and downs. I still stopped drawing for ages because I'm like, oh, I'm not good. Oh, there's so many furry artists that are better than me. But that's just my inner A-level art critic coming through and sort of going, you'll never be good enough. But yeah. I don't know.
A-level art, goddamn. A-levels.
No, that was torture.
I failed my A-levels, and then that was what I was saying. I'm sure, you know how I've been like talking about, I mean, I put that Instagram thing up, and I think I tweeted about it as well. I was like, sorry, babe, can't come to the phone right now. I'm busy listening to Mac DeMarco. Wish I was 16 again. Because I used to just, when I was 16, and this is a complete tangent, we'll get back to it, but just like on and off topic. Like when I was 16, all I was doing was like not doing my A-level work, going to like house parties and getting absolutely fucking smashed. And then like listening to Mac DeMarco and skateboarding with like my best mates, and it was just like the nicest time ever, and I just missed that because now I'm like sat in my uni room going like deadlines and just being like I have to actually work on this. 'Cause I mean I failed my A-levels and I'm like not surprised in the slightest how, And I got like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't get kicked out at the place, but they like recommended me to leave because they were like, we don't think you're gonna do very well.
Oh no.
But it's fine. I got my way to uni and I've sorted myself out, so it's fine. Anyway, back to the like art stuff. I do think it's really nice that you've kind of found a way to, you know, it's not, it doesn't always have to be like vent art, but you know, just doing something you like doing or something you're passionate about to kind of like take your mind off more negative stuff and then like to clear your head of it is always nice. I mean, it's something I've talked about on the show before, and I think it's just you can kind of apply it to anything. Like if you just do any sports or if you do any art or whatever, it is something that it's just nice to clear your head when you have bad mental health. And then I totally get that kind of thing of being, you know, worried about being a furry, and it's something I've talked about on the show quite a lot, where it was a thing of I used to joke about it, and then like I used to just have people around me that were just like, no, that's fucking weird, and I was like,
no, it's
okay. I was
same,
like,
honestly.
okay, and then I just like repressed it a bit, and then like when I started dating my girlfriend, she was like, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like how I'm getting into this furry stuff again, and she was like, oh no, I think that's cool, you know, like I think it's awesome, you know, that it's just like such a different kind of art style and like all these cool like anthropomorphic animals. And I was like, she was like, if you enjoy it, you should just go for it. And I was like, okay. So, you know, and then I made a Sona with the help of my friend, and I haven't looked back since, you know, and it is nice. And thing is, I don't like the word, like, I don't know, this is a bit of a kind of weird off topic, but like, I don't like the word fandom. I find the word fandom like really out.
It's
I
different.
don't know. It's fine. I use it sometimes as well, but for me, it feels like really outdated, like Tumblr fandom kind of shit. It just reminds me when I used to have like a Steven Universe fucking Tumblr account.
So I was talking about Tumblr earlier with some people, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I wasn't in the fucking Super Hulock fandom. And I was like, but I was a Homestuck person, so I can't say shit.
A few of my friends were. I never got into Homestuck. I remember my mates used to
You're
try
so
and get me
lucky.
into it, and I used to just get really bored. I used to like click it and like read it, and I was like, because my attention span was just minuscule.
No, I didn't even finish reading it. I honestly was only there for the art and to go to Comic-Con and like dress up as a troll. It was pretty cool. But no, that fandom.
Yeah.
No. It was definitely a very toxic place. But I do agree. I think in this circumstance, I think with sort of furries, I think it's more of a culture, subculture.
It's like a community as well. Like, and that essentially is what a fandom is. It's just a fan kind of community in it, and I just like saying community more than fandom because I find fandom to be like 2013 Tumblr word. I know it's just completely off topic, but I don't know. And I think everybody, you have so many like-minded, talented people in this kind of close-knit kind of community, and it doesn't even have to be furry art. It's just artists in general, I think, as well. And it's just like a nice thing. I think it is hard to not compare yourself to people as well, like you were saying before, because I get the same thing with like edits, or when it comes to like exposure with edits. I get really annoyed at that, and I get annoyed that I'm so bothered by it. It turns into a thing. So first of all, you've got like, I'll finish an edit and then I'll look at somebody else's and it'll be like way more smoother than mine, and then I'll look at like I'll like work really hard on an edit and I'll upload it, and then some like kid will put like a fucking like flipper clip edit with like stock transitions, and it'll get like 300k views, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? Like, and I don't mind if I don't really, I know it's like contradicting what I said, but I don't really care about exposure that much. I do it. I like editing like AMVs and all that because it helps me practice, because the shots are already composed for me. All I need to do is add the transitions and add the special effects that I want to, and it helps me do better at post-production. But it is nice that, if you work like fucking 20 or so hours on an edit and you upload it, it is nice to get a little bit of recognition for your talent. And I'm sure you feel exactly the same way with art, or I'm sure everybody feels the same way. But even though it does, I think it's something to reiterate that even though that is something that can get you down, or it's something that can be in your head, you've got to remember you're doing it because you're enjoying to do that thing, and that's just something that I've got to remember. If I'm doing this solely to get exposure, then that isn't really, first of all, it's not a good mindset, and second of all, it's just taking the enjoyment out of it. If you set a goal of, I want to make this because I want to get better at this said subject, rather than I want to make this because I want exposure and I want people to appreciate my work, that is nice, but that should be a side thing in my opinion. I think your main thing should be improving. But I mean, everybody has different goals, everybody has different mindsets towards these things, but I think that's what is a better positive mindset overall, because if you have those set goals of making this because I want to get better, over time you will start getting more exposure. I mean, with my stuff, I only started at like 20, 30 views in editing. Now I get like maybe 100, which is not massive in the slightest, but it's still something, and I like making them, so I don't really mind too much.
I just like, I mean, drawing is therapeutic for me, and I am sometimes like, please commission me, ooh, because, you know, I'm a uni student, I need money, that's all uni students are like, please. But no, I just love art. I love it so much. Like, whenever I get, like, I draw things for my friends, I draw things just because I'm bored, I draw things when people are paying me, but I generally like put my heart and soul into it because art is what I do. I mean, I love film, and I hope to include my art in film somehow. I don't know how. But art is genuinely like a thing that it's a part of me, and it's like been a part of me since I was a kid. So it like whenever I put myself down, I then go, whoa. But that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because it's just fun. It's just good for me. It's nice.
Yeah.
And like when you make something and you sit back and you go, whoa, I did that. Oh my God. Like, I think that's the best part.
It's like that is like one of the nicest things. When I like finish an edit and like I look at a transition, or if I do anything, like I look at it and be like, I did that. Like, that is my work that I've done.
That's my baby.
That is my baby, and like I did it, and that is something that I personally created, and it's only going to get better if you keep consistent with it as well. So yeah,
I think that's definitely an issue with me that I need to work on. I just disappear from furry Twitter sometimes. I just stop drawing for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm like, oh, and then I come back and I'm like, hey guys, I'm back, and then I go again. So I need to like stop announcing myself, because I'm like almost putting an expectation for myself to just continuously show up for people when I could just be chill and like post art when I want to post art. And
you need to work on your own time. And again, it's like similar to the exposure thing. Don't make stuff because you need to make it. Just make it when you want to. You're working on your own time. You're working on your own creativity. Just make stuff when you want to. This is what I'm saying with the podcast. Like, I'm obviously trying to do one a week, but also I got other commitments and stuff. And it's like, I feel like I wouldn't make as good of an episode if I didn't take these breaks. Then I'll be rushing the editing. It wouldn't be as smooth, because, you know, some people just upload like OBS or like VODs of like the entire conversation and like don't edit it. But I'm trying to edit, and I'm trying to get better at audio editing as well, because it's part of my degree. So I sit there and I like get rid of all the pauses and all the noise cancellations and all the sniffs and the coughs and all the breaks. And like, it is fucking tedious. I'm not gonna try and pretend I enjoy like cutting out coughs and sniffs and pops of the mic and shit. But it's just something you have to do, and I want to keep up that quality. So if I didn't take breaks, and if I'm sure you feel exactly the same thing, if you don't take breaks from stuff you enjoy doing, it goes for anything. Like, if you don't take breaks, then you're not going to make as good stuff. I feel like we've went on a massive tangent about work ethic. But I mean, I like it.
We both need to work on ourselves.
Yeah,
and
we
be
do.
Nice to ourselves.
100%.
Just need to love ourselves.
I'm trying to think of anything furry that we can relate to. You haven't been, so you said you went to a Comic-Con, but you haven't been to any conventions then, have you?
No, I've
never
been to a furry con. I didn't even know they existed in the UK.
We have CFZ, but sadly CFZ has been cancelled again this year. Whoa. And you know, it's a given. I was
honestly,
it's weird. I had this thought in my head, and I was like, maybe obviously CFZ is virtual this year, but then if it's going to be in 2022, like in person, then maybe by then the podcast has got a bit of traction, and maybe I can do like a little panel or some shit. That'd be fucking awesome. Imagine. This is the thing. I'm gonna clip this part. If I somehow get big by summer of 2022, so this is like a year and a half's time. Yeah. I'm going to clip this part, and I'm going to put it in the funnel, and I'm going to pause it now and be like, welcome to the funnel. I would love to do that. And then also I wanted to kind of organize a fashion show thing where people would have like fashion things, and then they would have music, and then they would stop their little strut or whatever. They could be wearing a fursuit. They don't have to be wearing a fursuit. Then just do like 30 seconds of, hi, this was my outfit choice. I chose this because this. This is my music choice. I chose this because this. And they walk off, and the next person comes on. Then you could do group ones and thingy ones. I think there's a lot of people, there's a lot of furries that are really into fashion. I don't know if it's like the UK scene in terms of furry fashion is big, but I know just in general, because I mean, you've got anthropomorphic animals that have human traits. That's like an anthropomorphic kind of thing. And with human traits comes clothes, comes fashion, and I think it's something that crosses over quite well. I mean, it crosses over for me a lot as well. But I
always like drawing cool shit on my furries. I love giving them like little funky t-shirts. I wouldn't say I'm like, I love clothes, I love fashion, but I wouldn't like say I don't know if it's like a genre. I feel like it's almost a genre of furry, like fashion furries.
It's like hypebeast furries, but like.
But yeah.
But I mean, you don't. I mean, I'm hypebeast. Thing is, though, I'm hypebeast Dan. It's in my name, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't even fucking buy that much hypebeast shit anymore. No. I think I'm just taking a break from spending a lot of money in general at the moment. But
honestly, fair enough.
It's like it's just. I think obviously you've got hypebeasts, but then hypebeasts aren't the entirety of fashion. You've got like vintage stuff. You've just got there's loads of different fashion kind of things you can go off, and that's what I like about it. It's so diverse. So
yeah, you should just make your own furry convention.
Oh, just do a
furry or just like a furry fashion show. Like hit up London Fashion Week. Come on.
that's because me and Amy obviously are trying to make that clothing line, that fruit salad one with the alien cat. Maybe that's the start of it. Who knows? That'd be awesome.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Obviously, conventions, we haven't been able to experience them because of Current, and also because we're both like new furries. I like how we kind of relate with that as well.
Oh no, I didn't realize our experiences were so similar.
Yeah,
I thought
because it was kind of like people said cringe. Partner says do it, pursue it. That's literally it.
Okay, I guess.
Okay, I guess I do it. Yes. No, I mean, do you want to just move on the album? We can just move on the album if you want.
I mean, we can move on.
Because I think you have a lot to talk about with it, though. So I think
I do.
So we might, stretch a little bit more. So so we will talk about the album choice of this week, which was Geogaddi by Boards of Canada. Now, so we were talking about the start of the episode about how this. I was texting you whilst I was watching it. Listening to it. I was like, I'm like currently lying on my bed listening to this album, and I'm like having some sort of fucking like quarter life crisis. And well, not in a way that was bad, but like
no,
it was just so interesting because it really got into my head.
Yeah,
it was just, and I found it like, I think it. This is gonna sound really pretentious in it, and I've talked about this on the podcast before because I've talked about like the essence of horror, and we learn about it in film, and there's like this universal theory that like horror elicits or produces curiosity, but we're also like fearful of it, and I think that's what I get with this album, where it was some of the like tones and like how it sounded like really sent me like off edge, like made me feel really weird and like unnerving, but then at the same time it was really intriguing, and I just kept listening, and that's something that really like it really interests me. It's really eager, like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's really intriguing as a piece of work, and I think it goes for anything like horror games or things that send you off edge, like things that we find weird and unsettling, we still pursue that. And I think that's something that's really interesting. Anyway, you can talk. Why did you choose this album in particular to talk about?
Oh, well, I discovered Boards of Canada last year. because I played like this tabletop RPG game called Cyberpunk, not the fucking PlayStation game, but like the original, yeah, the original sort of like D&D vibe kind of game.
Awesome, yeah.
And I literally just found it while I was making a playlist for our sessions,
cool.
and I just went down a hole with this band because I listen to stuff like Aphex Twin as well, so I do like ambient, like I think it's called intelligent dance music. I don't like that genre name.
It sounds like slightly pretentious, but it's also true.
Maybe it's like I'm sure there's some irony in it as well. But yeah, so I like it. It just feels different to sort of, although I do listen to a lot of dance and trance as well.
Yeah.
But there's something different about sort of the more strange aspects of it. But yeah, Geogaddi really stood out to me because it was the most weirdest experience I've had sort of listening to an album ever. I mean, it just completely sent me, it blew me away. I've listened to so many like amazing albums in my life, and this one, just after listening to it, I was like, what did I just listen to? Like, it's so strange. And then I watched a documentary on YouTube about Boards of Canada because they haven't released anything in years. They are the most
I was gonna say
weirdest.
This came out in like 2002.
Yeah, 2002. Yeah. But they are the most weirdest duo ever. They're Scottish brothers, and like they were really inconsistent with their like releases, and they haven't made anything, I think, since, let me check Spotify,
because they made Tomorrow's Harvest in 2013.
Yeah, and that was their last thing.
Yeah, so they had like kind of recent releases, 95, 98, 2002, 2005, and then 2013. So we had like what a kind of 8-year gap there. And then they haven't and then they haven't made anything for 8 years now. So
yeah, they're a really sort of mysterious little band, and I watched a YouTube documentary about it, and I highly recommend it. I think it's called This Is Hexagon Sun, and it literally, like, it's just, there's no sort of audio description, you have to read all the subtitles, but it's just the soundtrack, it's just their music sort of blending together, and it was just a hypnotizing experience in itself. But when you learn sort of the details of this album, because they put a lot of brain behind this, it changed it again. It changed the experience for me. So then after that, I listened to it all the way through again, and I was like, this feels even more weird. This feels like some cult shit I'm listening to, and I love it. It's literally like, I have some little facts like written down about it that just make it special. Yeah. Just make it really unique.
I mean, it's something that we talk about on the show a lot, where artists and like film directors, when we're talking about the film choices, do tiny things that not everybody would pick up on, but if you do pick up on them, it's just so satisfying and so interesting to think about. It did definitely remind me of Aphex Twin kind of thing. I mean, I don't listen to Aphex Twin too much, but I've listened to like the odd few songs by them, and it is that kind of, it is like trancey kind of, I don't want to say immersive. It's like, I don't know. Basically, it just made me kind of, this isn't the nicest thing on, I guess, but if I want to be completely honest, it made me feel really hollow. Like, not hollow in a sense that it was bad, but like, I was like lying on my bed listening to it. It was nice, but I was just like feeling, I was like, whoa, like, this is like something. And I mean, I was just, I don't know. I think it's something that I definitely want to listen to, because I was listening to it just casually with my laptop on, like maybe texting a few people or whatever. I think it's something, it's kind of like similar to Blonde by Frank Ocean, where I think this is an album I would listen to when I'm like going to bed and all the lights are off and I have my headphones in. I think it's something I would definitely listen to. I think it's an experience to like listen to front to back. It's like 1 hour and 6. You just listen to. I mean, they made it specifically 66 minutes, didn't they? Because
66 minutes and 6 seconds.
Yeah, because Magic Window, the last song, is like just fucking silence. It's just not. It's just pure silence. I thought my Spotify fucked up, or like they had a copyright strike on the Spotify song. So I looked it up on YouTube, and then it was the exact same thing.
It's just silence.
Like, what the fuck? And I think it's so interesting. I mean, I want to let you talk about it, but I mean, just quickly, the Beware the Friendly Stranger song I recognized because it
Mm.
was used in Salad, what's it called? Salad Fingers. That's how I
Yes.
recognized it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is exactly how it makes you feel. So
Mm.
Salad Fingers using that song is fantastic because, you know, Salad Fingers is a animation was like, you know, it became popular on YouTube because it was a thing that you would watch to make yourself feel very unnerved in, you know, a little bit like scary kind of thing and creepy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly how the album makes you feel sometimes as well. And it isn't a bad thing at all. Like I feel like I'm describing it with like negative connotations of it being creepy and kind of weird, but you'll understand where I'm coming from with this, where that's the point of it. It's meant to make you feel like on edge and I don't know. Well, you're meant to experience it. It's not meant to be off-putting, but it's meant to. I don't know. It's meant to make you feel different. It's not supposed to be an entirely enjoyable experience. I don't think. That's what they've had in mind.
No, I totally agree. I think their music sort of creates a different sort of world each album. If you listen to all the albums, you will literally have different emotions sort of rise up, and that like you can even see from the album covers, like the colors change very suddenly from their previous albums, which were very sort of blue and green tones, sort of quite calming and
then this is the only one that's
relaxing.
just like a burning orange yellow.
Yeah, it's completely different, and they just wanted to do something really different. They're inspired a lot by sort of tragedies in the world. I think they said this album because they were recording it and then they were thinking about creating the album and 9/11 happened, and they said that sort of influenced how they're taking the album, which I think loads of musicians did. I think a load of them ended up making a darker album around that time. I mean, they definitely just messed around with making it almost cursed as possible. I think they talked to their record label and they were like, we should make it 666 minutes, and even the size of the album, if you download it, is 666 megabytes.
Oh, so, what the fuck? That's mad.
They really
put some thought behind that.
Oh yeah, I mean, and there's 23 tracks, and apparently there's like a theory that the number 23 is connected to everything in the world. I don't know how.
I heard that my friend, well, not my friend, somebody that I knew from school started this fucking Twitter thread of them seeing the number 23 everywhere.
Oh my god!
It was. I remember that was ages ago though, but I remember them just having a thread of it, and everyone found it really like weird and funny. But I think that is something. That is,
They definitely went very strange with this, and because they're so quirky with their releases, so they were like completely radio silent after their last album. They only did like one interview between the last album and then the release of this, and then unannounced they just did a poster where they previewed the album in 6 churches just across the world in different countries. I know. And that was it, and that was like, hey, our album's here, come to church and listen to it.
Though. That reminds me of like Death Grips have only done like 3 interviews in their entire life, and one of them is, I find that so fucking funny, that obviously that interview instrumental album was it's just an entire like 20-30 minute, I think it might be like a 20-minute instrumental album, and it's called Interview 2016, and it's this random guy interviewing Death Grips, but they released it, and then what they did, instead of, you know, releasing the voices and releasing you know the actual interview, they just put instrumental music over the video. So and I find that really interesting that the only person that'll have experienced that interview are Death Grips, the guy that's interviewed them, and like the cameraman that was like recording it. And I find that so fucking interesting. Like
it's when artists make the experience of their music different to anyone else.
I mean, it's like it's that idea of separating your public life from your kind of facade of how you present your music and how you present yourself with your music. I mean, MC Ride is probably a very chill person in real life. Oh, yeah. But MC Ride, I've like heard stories of like my flatmate Anderson like loves Death Grips, so he's told me like loads of stuff about them, about how they act in concert and how they act with fans, where they keep up this like silent tone, very angry kind of faces, even though they love their fans. in the middle of
Oh,
every like they just keep up this like kind of what's the word? They just keep up this facade, I guess,
I
that
get, yeah, sort of
that
a personality.
personality of just being, serious, grumpy, but in real life they're probably just like chill as fuck. But I love
Oh
that.
yeah,
I love
no.
when artists kind of separate their public life from like their music. And I think especially for music that's quite intriguing, like Death Grips or Boards of Canada,
Mm.
it's something that should be experienced without thinking of who's made it. It should be just a piece of art that should be,
Yes,
you know,
I totally agree.
yeah.
I think you should, if you like interesting sort of artists behind the art, I definitely like recommend researching Aphex Twin more. Because he just makes up rumors about himself. He does not. No one knows anything about him.
Really?
Um, no one. Literally, he said he has like he talks about how he has a tank in his garden. He said that his like 6-year-old has a SoundCloud account and like makes music for him, and like produces albums for him. He just chats shit about
What the
himself
fuck?
because I know
That's
because
mad.
he came from Wales, and
Okay.
so he's literally like he's made himself a Welsh myth in a way, which is really cool. I love that he's just completely
Mhm.
changed how the world views him, which
I
I
find
think.
it the Richard D. James album. I try to listen to it, but like the album art is the most off-putting, creepy shit. I
that's
swear
that's
down.
that's the first Aphex Twin record I ever got. I think was the Richard D one, and then I think I found Window Liquor, like the single, in a little record store near my hometown, and I was so pleased to get it
I
because
mean,
the
yeah.
album art is just so good. I
I mean,
love it.
Flim's the one that I know.
Oh yeah,
That's the song that I actually know.
yeah.
But I
Oh, my
just,
boyfriend loves Flim.
so
He loves
boom,
Flim.
boom, boom, boom,
Boop,
boom,
boop,
boom. Yeah,
boop, boop, boop.
it's cool.
But no, back to Boards of Canada. I just went on because I love Aphex
No, it's
Twin
fine.
so
That's
much as
fine.
well.
That's fine. Don't worry
I'm
about
like,
it. We got time. We got time.
literally, no one knows anything about these two either. I think they've only done 2 or 3 interviews in their whole career. They did a whole thing where they, for their most recent album, they like hid clues everywhere in like posters and like videos they released on like fan made accounts.
That's
Because
mad.
I know because there's no official Boards of Canada music video. They're all fan made videos of like old vintage sort of like, I would say like I can't really describe it, like adverts and
Yeah.
tutorials and stuff like that. So they're all fan made, and then they started sneaking themselves into the fan accounts and like hiding things in it. And then all this led to just a random place in the desert in America, and that's where they did the release party of their album. And
That's
like
that's
10
awesome.
people, yeah, 10 people got to like actually figured it out and got to go there and listen to them play music, which was insane. So they're definitely, I think they just love messing around with their audience because their music is so playful in a very strange way that they know that the people who listen to it are inquisitive enough to sort of follow trails that they lead them, even if it leads to nothing.
Yeah. No, it's super, super, super interesting. Going through like some of the stuff I liked, I really liked Judy and Candy. I thought Judy and Candy was very.
Mm,
I think it had a really nice start, and then when like the beat kicked in, it was like one of the more not upbeat, but the more like bass and beat heavy kind of
yeah.
songs. 1969 was good as well. I really like 1969.
Mm.
I found the Devil is in the Details like really off-putting. Like, that was my scariest, probably. Well, scariest, like
I've
my most creepy kind of
no,
song.
I think some of these songs are scary as
Yeah,
hell. A's to B as B is to C
yeah.
is literally, I wrote it down here. I said it scares me so much. I don't like the sounds of audio played in reverse. I don't know what it
Oh,
is about it.
so do
It
I.
freaks me
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I mean,
It literally
I didn't hear that much. I think that was just like me being oblivious. But I probably hate that song now as well if I like listen to it with the headphones on and shit.
No,
Because
if you literally you could hear it through if you listen, because I've listened to it so much.
yeah,
Pretty much every single song will probably have something
yeah,
reversed in
I've
it,
heard, yeah.
or just samples of people talking. But yeah, there's
I find it
a
so horrible. Like,
yeah, it's some sort of uncanny valley kind of
yeah,
feeling where it's like almost understandable, but it isn't, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
I hate reversed music a lot. Like
No.
in terms of like I think that's what used to scare me the most with like that fucking like creepypasta kind of shit.
Yes.
When like
Oh my
Ben
God.
drowned and all that shit. Like it wouldn't be the actual visuals that would scare me. It'd be like the I fucking hate it. Like it puts me on edge so much. And then
Yeah.
what are the examples of like reverse music can I
Oh my
give?
God. I used to scare myself as a child listening to the Kim Possible theme song backwards. Like that was it. It haunted
What?
me.
No
I don't
way.
know why I did it, but it literally I would lie in bed at night and I could just hear it in my brain.
That's fucking weird. Yeah, it's just reversed music, reversed people speaking. There's just something
Oh,
about it, like it being like sharp. It's like the kind of the hoot. I don't know. It's hard to explain,
yeah.
like without sounding like a fucking idiot, but it's just
Some of
incredibly
these,
off-putting.
yeah, some of these songs are meant to like earlier say I listened to most of the album backwards, which is a very different experience. I think if you can handle it, you should definitely try it. And some of the songs sound better played in reverse.
That's so
And like
interesting.
I think it's the last track. I may be a fake fan. No, it's not the last track. I'm such a fake fan. You could feel the sky. That one.
Hmm.
If you there's a speech in it around like 2 minutes 10 seconds,
Hmm.
and if you play it in reverse, it says like a god with horns or a god with hooves. So there's already like references
Ah,
to
like
Wicca,
the Wicca, yeah.
Satanism. Yeah. And then apparently if you slow it down, I sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but if you slow it down by like 3% or something, I can't remember the exact thing, but you can hear like it's a whole story in that song of like apparently you can hear women screaming, and then you can hear
No way.
crackling fire, like that weird sort of sound that sounds like stretched, like it sounds like rope to me. And it's like, I think it's meant to be like footsteps or like fire burning in reverse. And then you can hear the church bells ringing. So it's meant to be some sort of like sacrifice, I think, is what
No
people
fucking
theorized it.
way.
Yeah, you can, like, there's a whole wiki for these songs, and all of them have some meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Obviously, not confirmed by Boards of Canada because they don't really talk about it. They don't really
Mhm.
talk in
Yeah.
general, but
And I
you
think
have
it's
the
nice,
whole.
like leaving it kind of open up to interpretation. I think talking about this kind of thing, because there is something I want to say about the album that links to the film choice as well. But is there anything
Yeah.
else that you want to talk? Because we're on 50 minutes, so if you want to talk
Oh
about
my
anything,
god,
say now.
wait, sweet. I think I just sort of I would say that like my favorite track like is the one that I always come back to is Dawn Chorus.
Yeah, I like that as well. I really like that
There's
album.
a really fun fact about it is that it's named after an electromagnetic phenomenon when at some points when the sun like comes over the horizon. I'm not sure if it's the sunrise or the sunset, and if there's like solar flares, if you have the right equipment, you can hear the
Hmm.
sounds of the sun, and it sounds like birds whistling, or sometimes like human voices singing, like loads of
Yeah,
voices going ah. And they named it after that. And I think
that's so cool.
if you listen to it after you hear some of the like recordings of the phenomenon, you can definitely see where they got inspired from. Like this band just loves mathematics and science and like
Yeah.
including that kind of stuff in their music.
I think it's just like this is like on a whole another level of like thinking about what you're doing with each of your songs and
Yeah.
kind of what you're applying. I think there's so much you can kind of unpack for this. This is what I was saying about how I'd want to re-listen to it in a different environment. It may be in a different listening experience in terms of reversing it or listening to it in a different order because
Mm.
it just seems something you can really unpick a lot. But I mean, in that's what I'm saying. I want to keep talking about it, but we got to move on. We got to move on
We gotta
now.
go. We gotta
But
go.
I will say, this is my link. First of all, it's really cool about talking about the sacrifice thing and
Mm.
all the kind of themes of that because obviously that links to the film as well.
Oh yes.
But Corsair, I was thinking about it and I was like, if that was in the soundtrack for the film choice, I would
Mhm.
not bat an eyelid. I was
No.
thinking about when I was listening to Corsair, I was thinking about the ending scene, like
Oh
you
my
know, of
God.
the like TP like
Yeah.
fucking triangle house on fire, and I was like, this would fit that so well. And on that note,
Yeah.
we will move on to the film choice of this week, which was Midsommar, directed by Ari Aster. I mean, what a surprise, you know, two film students picking an A24 Kino Ari Aster film.
Oh, we definitely aren't stereotypes, are
No,
we?
definitely. Well, to be fair, obviously you picked it, but I was like, yes.
Let's
Well,
do it.
we were picking. Well, to be fair, we would choose between that or Perfect Blue, and I mean, Perfect Blue is like my favorite film of all time. And I was like, if we pick Perfect Blue, I'll go on about it too much, and I really want to rewatch Midsommar. So we've picked that. Now, before we start, I did try and get the director's cut version, but I couldn't find it anywhere because my legal download didn't work. So I just watched the normal version on Prime instead.
Yeah. We have the DVD version, but I don't think it was the director's cut. So we have the same experience.
Fine.
I think it's like even longer. Like
it is. It's almost 3 hours. It's mad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I think it was just because I've already seen the film, which I'll talk about. Like my first experience watching the film was like quite interesting, so we'll talk about that. But in general, I think people say that it is way better, and I do think that obviously when it comes to runtime, my attention span's fucking dog water. So like sitting down and watching a film and me saying like it's almost 3 hours is me saying like I'm gonna get bored. But I felt like even this film was like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and to me it really just the runtime seemed to go really quickly. Like
I felt totally the same.
Yeah, the first half an hour of the film, I know you watched like a little analysis, didn't you? So it's okay if you didn't like watch the film, but I'm just like, obviously you watched it maybe like a while ago or something, or did you watch it recently?
I haven't watched it recently, but I've watched it like 5 times.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite films, and I always watch it. Whenever I watch it, I always make sure I watch it with a new friend because I like seeing how they react, and it's really funny every single time.
It's funny that you say that because I'm going to talk about that, right? But what I'll say is they don't even get to the Swedish place or whatever, the little like campsite. I don't even want to know what to call it. Like,
I think it's like a commune.
Yeah. Spoilers for Midsommar, by the way. If you haven't seen the film, I hope you see the film, guys. To prepare yourself for the podcast. But if you haven't, that's okay. But obviously, no spoilers. Obviously, when they get like the culty place, it's like half an hour. The film's already gone, and that's really, really interesting to me because like that's all exposition, and that's like a fifth of the film, and that's really, really cool. Yeah. In terms of how I experienced it for the first time and talking about friends and that, so I went to go see it in the cinemas when it first came out.
Same.
And I remember I went with me and 4 other friends, okay? And I was sat in the middle. So obviously I had 2 friends on my left side and 2 friends on my right side. And it was fucking hilarious because I was sat in the middle, and on my right side, my mates were like on specific parts. Like, for example, the weird moaning or and all that shit. They would just be like, they would be like, what the actual fuck is going on? Like, what is this shit? Not it's like if it's bad, but like getting creeped out, like, what the fuck? And then on my left side, on my left side of me, my mates were trying to like fucking crease and like absolutely like burst out laughing in like the cinema.
No.
And I found it super interesting that like some of my friends found it really fucking creepy, but then some of my friends found it absolutely hilarious. It was just kind of weird that people experience horror differently, and I think this film's a very weird experience. So.
Yeah, I got to see it in the cinema as well, and it is a complete. I hope that cinemas open again at some point,
really hope
because
so
watching a
too.
film in the cinema is such a different experience.
It is. It really is.
But we got to see it, and it was hilarious because it was like a lot of couples, and I was there with my boyfriend.
No.
So
Okay.
a lot of couples, and Ari Aster does this kind of horror where you are just so weirded out by it that you have to laugh. It's so tragic and so like freaky that you just have to you just have to crack up. And so it would be literally like I'm trying to think. Oh my god. Like when the boyfriend gets drugged, and like we would all just have to go ha 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 because it's so weird. And like that whole section in that film was just so freaky that everyone was sort of like
entire like
gasping.
Sex part fucking...
Yeah, no, the whole cinema was laughing.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And like everyone was looking at each other like, what the fuck is happening? Right
I saw this
now?
thing that was like, I went to go see Midsommar on a first date, and I was like, what are you doing? Oh my god.
And then we came out of the cinema and literally we heard like, I don't know if they were a couple, they were just friends that were walking behind us, and they were discussing like the relationship of the two main characters.
Christian.
And, Danny and Chris.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, I think Christian deserved it. And then the other person was like, no, he didn't. He's just misunderstood. And I was like, oh my god, no.
Yeah, that's
it
the
was
thing.
really interesting.
When I first watched it, I was the exact same. Like my friend Joe, shout out my friend Joe. We were talking about the film, and he was like, the boyfriend fucking deserved it. And I was like, I don't know, maybe not to that extent of being like burned alive in a bear costume. But now after rewatching it, I was like, yeah, he's a fucking prick. Like, I don't care.
Honestly, it's the way that like the sort of antagonist of the film shifts from sort of the very mysterious cult, the very, once you've seen the cliff scene, you're like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to kill, they're going to kill our main characters. They're the enemies. But then as the film gets, continues and Christian becomes more and more of a dick, you're like, the cult's not so bad.
Yeah.
Ari Aster described it as a breakup film. He didn't necessarily describe it as a horror. And he was like, it's a breakup film with dark comedy in it. And I totally get that, and I definitely think that like the cult sort of saved Danny in a sense. They are almost like the protagonist. They almost rescue her in this sort of very strange way. But I definitely think that like Christian is definitely the antagonist in this sense.
Yeah, because the thing is with Christian, it's like even if you like put aside the fact that he was drugged and he wasn't in the right kind of mindset with all that shit going on.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't deserve. He did not deserve that part.
Yeah,
I mean, being burned alive.
But like
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was just that shit with obviously that scene. It was like obviously he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
No.
But at the same time, it's like even before that, like even before they went to Sweden, he was like fucking like gaslighting her and shit when she was going through her parents and her sister dying.
The most traumatic experience like anyone can like go family
through.
Death.
And then like he was, because obviously they were debating at the start of the film about how Danny was like, you didn't tell me you wanted to go to Sweden. And then he was like, oh, I just decided today. And then he turned it into a like, I don't know, I think I remember it was just like he turned it into a, oh, okay, I guess it's a problem then. I guess it's like, you're making it a problem then. She was like, no, don't worry, we'll sit down. It doesn't matter anymore. Like, just fucking gaslighting her. And it was just awful.
It was I think that was almost more uncomfortable than how the sort of cult came to be, like how they sort of revealed their quote-unquote true intentions. Because I think their intentions were always there, but I'll get onto that. I think that like the scenes where Christian is just so in the wrong, and it's like the parallel between him talking to his mates about like how to break up with her, and then cut to her like sobbing, and it's just like, oh my god.
Oh, I gotta say, like on a little bit of a tangent, Florence Pugh's acting's like fucking incredible. Like actually, is so good. I know, literally. It's just incredible. Like, it gave me chills whenever she would cry and shit. And just like her facial expressions, just everything was just like, it blew me away. Like, she was fantastic. I think I liked most of the actors. I think they all did a really good job. I liked I forgot, this is a bit shit, but the guy from Bandersnatch, the guy with the eyebrows.
Yes,
he's
Will Poulter.
Will Poulter. Yeah, I love his.
His like, character's so good.
He's like, I just pissed off the fucking tree,
And they're like, "Oh, my ancestors." Oh no, he definitely. It really takes it to the sort of dark comedy.
Dark comedy, yeah. He's like the kind of comedic he's like the comedic, output.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is, but I think there's like two sides of comedy in that film. There's the side of it being like literal comedy, like Will Poulter's character, and there's also the comedy of like feeling uneased and feeling weirded out, and you're just like laughing at the fact that like, what the fuck is going on? This is so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you look at his older, like Ari Aster made quite a few short films before he made they made Hereditary first, and that's a whole other film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it's completely different to Midsommar, which
it's
is good.
completely different. I mean, I think I prefer Midsommar just simply because I think
Same.
first of all, I think I
agree.
just prefer the concept. And I think I like the idea of it being a little bit more mind opening. I know that sounds really fucking pretentious and like third eye kind of shit, but I think it makes me think more, and I love films. I always talk about this on the show. I love films and I love albums that make me think more and make me return to them because, you know, they intrigue me. And I think I like how Midsommar is like at least 3/4 of it, or most, if not all of it, is like filmed in the daytime, and it still portrays itself as a creepy kind of horror. When there's like maybe
terrifying.
I think there's like 3 scenes in the entire film that are set at night, and that's like fucking incredible. Well, I mean, that are set like in the commune or whatever, not including the stuff that's like in America or whatever.
Yeah,
like the big main meat of the film is like 2 or 3 scenes that are set in the nighttime, and that's so cool to me.
Yeah. Totally.
One thing I got to talk. I mean, we're on like an hour and 4, so I might have to like try and be quick, but. One thing that I wanted to definitely talk about, which I think is the shining aspect of this film, is the cinematography. And I think the cinematography and the framing, Ari Aster's just so good at it, because it's exactly the same in Hereditary. Like in Hereditary, it's so nicely framed, but I think the environment that Midsommar's in kind of gives Ari Aster a lot to, like, it provides him with a lot of tools to kind of be innovative with it. And I just think it's hard to explain what he does, but it's like when it's like set, I don't know, it's just like so blocked. Like it'll be like the it's like, you know, the cross with the circles on it that are made of flowers. That'll be dead set in the middle. If it's framed, it'll be dead. Or Danny with the fucking like massive flower dress on and with the helmet on, that'll be dead in the middle of the rule of thirds.
Yeah,
or,
you could definitely say he's almost the Wes Anderson of horror.
Yeah, literally. That's how it feels to me. If I could compare it to a director, it would be like Wes Anderson in terms of how the shots are composed, because it's very like, this is in the middle, this building's in the middle, this is framed like this.
You can definitely tell he was a film student.
Yeah.
He's definitely, I think, I love the cinematography. I love how it's very much focused on wide shots and like taking in like, it's so spacious in the sort of commune, but they're still trapped. They don't have anywhere to go. They can't leave. And so it's a weird sense of claustrophobia where they're like, oh, they have so much to explore, but then, you know, if you leave, you probably will die. Or, you know, there's no cars. You walked here. I don't even know where they parked. It's just like, I love the cinematography. And I really love the soundtrack. So much. That just sends shivers down my spine every time I listen to it.
Especially that ending track, my god. The ending track where obviously the little yellow triangle house is on fire.
Yeah.
And you just start smiling, and it's like, it's a satisfactory ending.
Yeah, that whole scene definitely made me feel quite emotional. I don't know why, but I was just like, oh my god, she made it. It's like the trope in horror where it's like the final girl, where like, you know, they go through all the murder sequences and she's the last one who survives. But it's almost like a different feeling for her because she didn't survive the trauma of, you know, a murderer coming after her. She survived the trauma of her family dying. Her boyfriend being an arsehole, her friends sort of, she didn't have any friends.
She didn't have any friends. It was like her friends that were egging on the boyfriend to break up with her and to like leave her with no support. But why would you want support from somebody that doesn't even want to be there with you in the first place? And that is something that you got to think about as well. I just think it's just a lovely premise, and I think it is something that you just really got to think about who you root for, who you think had a good ending, who you think had a bad ending. It's funny, it's a complete off topic. Me and Amy were thinking of Halloween. I would dress up in the fucking bear thing, and then Amy would have the full on like flower frock. That'd be awesome. But also people would be like, "What the fuck are you dressed as?"
I think it would work. I think it would work.
I'm trying to think of specific parts that made me feel really like. I mean, a lot of it just made me feel unsettled. I liked how sometimes you could definitely tell, but sometimes I think that's the point where you couldn't tell when they were tripping sometimes and when they weren't. And like the faces would move and the faces would change, but like
that
really,
weirded me out.
Really discreetly. Like, obviously, there was some parts that, like, okay, her eyes are fucking massive. Like, it's obvious that, like, this is the perspective of Christian or the perspective of Danny who's tripping the fuck out. But there was some parts that I couldn't tell whether that was actually how they looked, and that, or if that was how. And I think that's kind of the intention of their perspective on it. Like, they don't know what the fuck's going on. They don't know what's real, what isn't real, what's going on. I mean, they're so, like, out of it that they're not even concerned. I think they were like, oh, 2 of our mates have went missing. And then, like, a few scenes later, they just don't give a fuck anymore because they're that, like, under the influence of so many psychedelics that they're just like, okay, I guess that, you know, they'll turn up sooner enough. But for now, I'm, like, tripping the fuck out.
There was one section when Danny won the sort of May Queen
Queen thing, yeah.
And then she's, like, lifted up and then carried around. And then there's, like, a wide shot and you see all the trees behind them. And obviously her flower dress is, like, you can see the flowers are, like, almost breathing.
Yes.
Which is really strange. Yeah. And then in the background, in the trees, it's very, like, it's only one shot you can see it. But you can see that the trees have moved in a specific way that it creates an image of her sister with the tube taped to her face.
That's mad.
I know, and it's just like it's like constantly haunting her in a way.
Because I saw the flowers breathing thing, and also when they were trying to lead Christian to that, like, weird ass fucking naked woman area, the girl was, like, dropping flowers on the floor to, like, lead him there, and then when she dropped one flower, there would be, like, 20 flowers that grow near it, and then it would like create a path. Because I was saw her, like, sprinkle the flowers, and I was like, I swear she's not sprinkling that many flowers. And I was watching, I was like, oh no, everything's growing around it, and that's just.
Oh my god!
It was so interesting. We're on like an hour. We're on an hour and 10. God damn.
Oh my god!
No, I'm liking it though. Like, I think this is a film that you can't not just talk briefly about. It's There's so much.
There's so many secrets.
Yeah. I definitely want to watch the director's cut version. I think the director's cut version is apparently it's got, like, more Danny breakdowns and more Christian being a prick. So
love it.
So I don't know, and I think it would kind of present a different perspective on the film as well, because literally usually there's director's cuts for films and people are like, oh, it was okay, I guess, or it was just exactly like similar. But this is like the one film that I know film critics that have said watch the director's cut. My mates have said watch the director's cut. Yeah. And it must, like, be so different and so much better that it's so significant to watch it. So I definitely want to go out my way to watch the director's cut.
I've heard people say literally, like, it's a completely different film with the director's cut. Like, he changes it completely with just these few extra scenes, and it just, the whole narrative almost shifts into a different light. I don't know what light, because I didn't want to spoil myself, because I do want to watch the director's cut as well. But yeah, I need to.
Yeah, I love it. Just a lot of it. I think even though it's obviously off-putting at times, I like the aesthetic of it being, like, the art drawings and all that as well, and that being said, and obviously the floral foliage.
Did you notice the opening sort of shot of the art? Did you like?
I didn't notice anything different, but I know exactly the one you're on about.
Yeah, so like the first, like, shot is just basically the kind of sort of piece of art that they had a lot in the commune, and if you pause it and you look at it, it describes the whole story of the film. Like, it shows at the start, it shows it shows the parents and the sister with, like, tubes. I don't think they're on their faces, but they're sort of connected by these tubes. And then it shows
that's awesome.
Yeah, it shows Danny crying to Christian, then it shows them going to the commune, then it shows them doing the dance of the May Queen, and I think it shows the burning of triangle.
Yeah, there's that foreshadowing, obviously, of when Christian's invited to that room and he sits down and he's staring at that bear on fire.
Oh my god. And in Danny's apartment, there's a painting of a bear and, like, a girl in the background.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's just so many little hidden things, and it's so detailed, which is, like, why I love this film and why I love that album. It's like every single thing is sort of thought through, and it's just a pleasure to just scroll through it and find all its secrets.
I think that's a nice thing to round it up on. One thing I'll say last thing is transition wise, it was fucking, oh my god, that transition when she's crying in the, like, flat, and then when she goes to the toilet and she opens the door and then closes the door and then suddenly she's on the fucking airplane. That was incredible. And I think it was a similar one with Josh, where he was like reading something and then he was suddenly reading it somewhere else instantly. And I think that like really like I love invisible transitions. It's like a really nice way of editing and makes everything feel smooth, and like I do sit down like, holy shit, that was fucking so cool. But that's the last thing I'll say about it. But yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about it before we wrap up, or just that it's a great film? Check it out.
I think it's just it's a beautiful film. I don't care if I'm a stereotypical film student with an A24 streak. It's amazingly well done. I love showing everyone this film because I literally film their reactions when the cliff scene comes in. But yeah, it's definitely it's absolutely beautiful, and I love it takes on old sort of styles of horror, like The Wicker Man, the original Wicker Man, not the Nicolas Cage one. I highly recommend. But then it makes it different. It makes horror sort of change and shift, and it shows that you don't have to have jump scares. You don't have to be in the dark. You can like don't trust anything in a film. It will come and get you.
Exactly. I mean, it's going back to that music thing. I find psychological horror, reversed music, like way more scary for me compared to like jump scares. Jump scares are scary, but they're scary for like 3 seconds and that's it. But things that like psychological horror or that reverse music stuff like stays in my mind and it imprints. And there's some scenes in this film that like are still imprinted into my head. Just first of all how beautiful they are, but again just like how they make me feel as well. What I'm thinking of doing, this isn't set in stone, and obviously I'm already got an entire thing on with the podcast in general, but obviously Punch Drunk Love, which I found out about from the podcast, is now one of my favourite films of all time. And I think I might do a thing where for films that I really, really like, since I'm obviously more I mean, I think I really, to be fair, I probably listen to music more than I watch films, but I think I can articulate my thoughts about films more. So I might start doing a thing where I have an extra, bonus episode thing with the guest on like the film. So for example, I'll probably invite Spring Silver back on to talk about Punch Drunk Love for like an hour or like half an hour if you really enjoyed that film. And then for example, we could probably just chat shit about Midsommar and just have it a director's cut version of the podcast episode, just cut that.
There you go.
I don't know if it's set in stone, but it's something I definitely had in mind. I have a lot of things in mind for the podcast, or just in general expanding. I'm thinking of doing video essays when I get the time.
That'd be
that's what I want to do. I want to do one on like Eva. It'd be fucking awesome. I would love that. Anyway, so I mean, we're on like an hour and 15, so we're gonna wrap it up really quickly. Obviously, if you want to check me out and you want to stay up to date on the podcast, at Hypeystan on Twitter. I also post reviews on Letterboxd of all the films that I do. I'm a little bit behind at the moment because I think what I've decided to do is usually what I do is watch the film, record the podcast episode, and then once the episode is actually released, I then write a review. But by the time that comes around, I've like fucking forgot what the film was about or forgot my thoughts on it. So basically, I think I'm just gonna say, if you follow my Letterboxd, you'll find out what film I talk about on the podcast episodes. But I'm sure none of you really, really care about spoiling what we're talking about that much. So, and I mean, I can easily edit the review so you don't know if it's about the podcast episode or not, but basically, so obviously got my Letterboxd account if you want to check out the reviews. Obviously check out Tyler's stuff. He's obviously a new furry, so, be nice, check out his art. He's done previous stuff for me, which I fucking love, like that one you did of a real life depiction of my persona plus me. I love that piece. That was awesome.
I love it. I love playing with sort of surrealism in a way.
So definitely check out his stuff. And please.
Please,
please. Is there anything else you want to plug or anything else you want to?
Oh god. I have an art Instagram. Hang on, I'm actually pulling it up right now. I believe it's @Fox Art. So please follow me there.
ATTICKS. Is that right?
No, it's @ATTISFOX Art. And follow me on Twitter @Queerfocks. This time with a CK.
If you watch on YouTube, all the links will be in the description.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.